Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am back in the shop today, and obviously I am covering. That continues. Where we left off was we just got that cut out here, and we were working on this here, and I kind of decided that it's really not that big a deal if this falls through, because I can always get it. I can always get it through here pretty easily, so I'm not as concerned about this as I was. So I'm not gonna like stress out too much if I lose it down in there. And what I left a loop on it on purpose, because I knew if I had to, I could always grab the loop with something from a distance. So I'm going to, it doesn't fall through right now, so I'm just going to leave it like that, and leave it like that. But what I'm going to work on is we're getting ready to do some finishing tape work, and I'm making some pieces that'll cover these here just in the corners. And then we've got some ironing to do inside there because we haven't done that yet. Then we have to apply some more glue where these are going to go. So we have just a few small bubbles to take care of, like right there. Everything else is in really good shape. We've got to do the same up here. I need to put a piece, 1-inch piece, kind of in here, and I have a sealing iron, but I didn't bring that today, so I'm going to save this for next time. But I need to use a sealing iron. I can't get my other iron quite in there. And yeah, so let's. We've got a lot of covering to do, so I'm going to. I've been debating, like, am I showing you too much? Am I not showing you? Like, are you like going to get sick of seeing covering? And so I'm just really hoping I can show you the stuff that's important, and I won't repeat. Like, I didn't show you doing the second side because you already saw me do one side, and the top was really similar except for some of these differences. So I'm going to just kind of continue that theme and show you everything that's a variation on what you've already seen and know. So anyway, enough yapping. Let's do some work. All right. All right, so now that this is attached, and someone asked about the I did test the UHMW on the glue, and it really does stick to it really well, and it's going to be encapsulated here anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. But this piece here is going to go over top. And so what I need to do is just make myself an outline, with my pencil here. What this looks like. And then we'll be applying glue. To this whole area, and we'll actually be putting this on while it's still wet, so I just need to make a little cut in it so I have a hole, and it looks like the hole is kind of toward the front, about right here somewhere. All right, so we'll get some glue on here. All right, we'll get our fabric piece on, and we'll just get that pushed down. kind of get it where we want it. And then I'm just going to use one of my popsicle sticks, just go around this edge here, make sure this is nice and tidy. And then once we have that, we're going to put another coat over the top. Make sure we get out over the edge of the pinked edges there. And then, as we've been doing all along, we're going to take our rag and we're going to wipe that off. Give that a chance, maybe set just a little bit more. Maybe I can. Started to slide a little, but I think I got it now. Wipe off is important because otherwise you get ridges and stuff in the glue, and those will show through your paint if you don't take care of them while it's wet. So I'll go back to my stick here. Make sure I'm good around these edges. Okay, that one's good. Okay, so now I've got the one cut that is going to go. It's going to go here over this. Since our headrest mounts to this, we want to keep this abrasion. If it happens to be flapping in the breeze or something, we want to make sure that it is protected. So we'll add one underneath there. And we'll do the same thing. We have make an outline. And then we'll put our glue in that area. And then we can put our piece on. Get it positioned where we want it here. And that looks pretty good right there. I notice I'm not wearing a glove today, which is not an issue with this system. It's You know, if you've ever messed around with contact adhesive or something like that, that's pretty much what you're dealing with, except it's waterborne. And it just rolls off your fingers. Okay. And then we'll work a little down into here. And just like before, we wipe it off. Now I could have applied this the same way you apply tapes normally, and you'll see that technique coming up. But since it was not a very big piece, I wasn't too concerned about it. So, all right, so that's good. Quick measurement here. We're going to go about maybe an inch outside that. So we're going to go about 14 inches. So I'll make another one about 14 inches long, and I'll be right back. All right, since it's important to me that these end up square, I want to make myself from the center line of where I want it. Basically, I have this ruler is 1 inch wide, so if I draw a line here and then I flip this over, I can draw a line here. This just allows me to center this one up because it's easy. If I have to do anything longer, which of course we will, this ruler is actually 2 inches wide. I just picked this up at Home Depot. It's the Empire brand. And then, you know, you can lay that out in a much longer distance and you can actually draw a line and get an actual exact 2 inch width. And that's just so you know where you're going to go, where you're going to go. It gives you something to line up the edge of your tapes with. So. And I'm just using the scrap pieces of fabric that I cut off of the when I was doing the fuselage sides and top and everything. So just make myself just kind of using that to make some of these little reinforcement areas, and then I'll cut that off at where I want it here. Get that out of the way. And then just take my ruler. Now I've got some 2-inch tapes. I got some 2-inch tape over there, but I'll use that for these long runs and stuff. And but for these little short things, I'll just make it out of what I have. So some of the scrap material. By the way, I'm using a number 8B pencil. It marks on fabric really well, so sometimes if you try and use a number 2, it's just really light. So then I just take a glue bottle. Just take a glue bottle and drop it on there, and that gives me the curve I'm looking for on the ends. cut this out. So what we have to do here before I can put this piece on, so that we don't risk leaving it loose, is I actually want to go ahead and attach the fabric to this piece of wood. So what I've decided to do is just go ahead and bring this across here. We're going to go ahead and attach this piece. And we're going to do this just like we did before. Do one section at a time. Put it on the fabric, and then we wipe it off. And you can see when we do that, how it pushes it down and against the what's underneath. Because you get a really good color change there, where you can really see that you're getting it attached to the wood underneath. So. Now I'm going to go on to something else while that dries, and then we can come back and we can put our reinforcement on there. All right, so now I'm just working on these tapes, making sure I get these kind of in the corner, and I'm going to let just a little bit of the pinking edge just barely go above the top, and then I'll iron that over, and then we'll trim the bottom flush with the edge again. So we'll get that All right, this is dried enough now where we can come back to it. So what I was showing you before is we're just going to do about just maybe a couple inches of this to start with. And this is how we'll also do our finishing tapes when we pull them, like along the longerons and stuff like that. So we get this in here where we want it, and get it all lined up. Just a touch. And that looks like that looks pretty good. And I'm just giving it a little tug in the direction that I want to go, so just to make sure it's going to straighten out and be on the line where I want it. I'm just going to take the brush and go back down through this, make sure it's completely saturated, and then we'll double check that we're where we want to be. We got to go that way a little bit. So that looks good right there. And then we'll just take our rag and wipe that off. And then we're going to walk away and let that actually dry. And then we'll come back to that. All right, so now that I've got that got that dry on that one end, I can tug on it and it doesn't move, and that allows me to get things straight and get aligned with what I'm trying to line it up with without having it slide on the other end. So alright, so we're just going to get that right where we want it. We'll brush down through it. And now when I take my rag, I wipe that off. I don't have to worry about having it slide. Sorry for all the helicopter noise. We have there's a bunch of helicopters that come over here and train. They do like auto rotation, and they do a lot of hovering and makes a lot of noise. So now when I pull that, it's not moving, and I don't have to worry about it slipping on me. And there we go. All good. All right. All right. When you're when I'm doing tapes, I'm just trying to think about, you know, where are potential areas of either things rubbing against other things or support around brackets and things like that, or areas that, you know, you might put your hand on a lot and it's going to get a lot of wear. And I just saw this this over the edge right here as just a potential place for that kind of thing to happen when you're working around the engine and when you're starting it. You know, you may like end up putting your hand on there, or it's just an area I think that's potential for high use. So I'm going to tape that. And on the fuselage, I'm using a kind of a rule of I'm going to do my tapes that go across the fuselage first, and then I'll do the long runs of the longerons after that, and they'll cover up the ones that are going across. So so this one, another tip is I've drawn a line, but you can pretend like my line's not there because if I didn't have a line there and I wanted to make sure I caught the edge of that just right, you could actually take your tape and fold it in half, and then just run it lightly across an edge, like so, and it'll just keep folding. Then I have a slight crease in my fabric right there, and that will show you right where your edge is. So when you go to line that up, you can just put that right on your edge, and then you're all set. And we have a nice straight line, so we'll take our glue and we'll work this down into the fabric. And what we do next is, you guessed it, we wipe off the excess. All right, so I went ahead and did these intake areas, which I am still crossing my fingers that I have these in the exact right location. Since I had no point of reference, no measurements, no anything, I just scaled it off of a photograph. I think I'm good. So if not, we're going to be making some modifications up here. But I think we're good. So I believe that to be true. All right, so I'm not completely sure where the camera dropped off, but I didn't realize I had the camera set for 48 frames per second. I typically record at 30 frames per second, so I have a good feel for how much I can put on a disc. So I have another one, which is good, but all I did was I went ahead and put these tapes on that you saw me working on up front here, and I just rounded the corner on the front one, and it overlaps this one here just a little bit. And so those are in place now, and these back here are all good. And I'll just put like a 235 degree or so iron on the tape edges just to make sure that they're down nice. So that'll take care of those. And now that we've got this one on and we've got everybody else on, all I have to do is iron these edges down on this one. You can see they kind of almost stick down on their own, but I'll get those ironed in place on both sides, and then that'll be all set. I was going to clean up this line here just a little bit. I'm just going to make one that's just overlap this piece here just a little bit, and I'm not concerned about that one at all in the front there. So I think we'll do some edge, some finishing tape on the corner here. I can do both of the sides, and then we can also go in and do some tape on the inside of the fuselage. I'm going to put finishing tape over here and let it overlap the top. So now that we've got all of these in place, I went through and ironed those down. So I can put a piece of tape in there, and yeah. So we'll get the iron heating up here, and let's get that set right. I think I'll start out light so I can do these tapes real quick, maybe 235 or so, and just flashes until it's at that temperature, then it stops. All right, so we got a new disc. We're back in action, and let me get out of here. Do the long one first, and then overlap the front one over it. So keep changing my mind, but that's what we're gonna do. All right, so first I'll just get a length on it. I'll leave myself a few extra inches here, and then we'll see what we got for distance here. Alright, got a length. So you can see I've got my, just got that little general crease in my fabric right there on the edge. And then we'll brush out this section. And then we'll clean that up. All right, and then I'll jump to the other side, and I'll cut another one, and I'll set it up just like this. And then by that time, we should be able to continue on with this one. All right. Now for this part, we're doing it just like we did the fabric. I'm gonna kind of smooth this out it's kind of attaching itself to the glue there. And then we'll go around with our iron, and we'll actually we'll just kind of put some heat to it and attach it. And then we'll go back and apply our glue to it. And then on the top deck here, we'll have to cut straight down to these corners here. And then this one will lay down this way. And that one will lay down that way. So I got all the area around the cockpit glued in, so that's good. Got a nice solid finishing tape all the way around there. I will. I think I'm good. I'm good with it, and I think I don't even mind these little triangles that are left. I think that will be fine. Either way, I'm going to have a triangle. Either I'm going to put one on top of this one, or I'm going to have the one underneath that one. So I'm going to let that go and not fuss with it too much. But now we can get to these finishing tapes, and because that's dry now, you can see how it sort of tends to start out blue, and then when it turns green, it's dry. So now we'll come back and we'll lay in our glue, and then we'll continue to wet out the tape. Section at a time, so that we can wipe off the excess. So we'll just do about 6 or 8 inches, 10 inches, something like that. And then we'll lay the tape in there.
as we go, I'll just be making sure that everything stays nice and straight, because you can always peel it up right after you do it if you have to. And yeah, so I'm going to finish that up, and I'm going to finish up these two finishing tapes along the top edge here, and that will be that'll be it for me today. That's all the time I have. So thanks for hanging out with me. You know I appreciate it as always. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you don't miss any of my episodes. And yeah, I hope everybody's healthy and well, and I will catch you later.